My husband of 11 years has never been romantic, which is fine. I'm not the type to ask for the moon and stars. I only ever asked for him to be nice and respectful. Growing up, I was constantly put down by the people around me. I was the black sheep of my family. I met my husband at my first job at a call center, and when we realized we also went to the same college, we hit it off. We were honestly all business and just instantly became each other's support system. We were both broke, from broken families, and didn't have anyone looking out for us, so it felt great to have someone. My husband was in his second year, and I was in my first year. Time went on, and as things got tighter, I got another job and another. My husband was more ahead and going through so much. I quit school and worked 2 or 3 jobs at a time so he could focus and finish school. When he was done, he said he would help me get through school. But on his last year, I got pregnant. He wanted to quit school to get a job, but I told him he was so close to finishing and that he should just focus on school. I still worked both jobs while I was pregnant and never gave him anything to worry about. When his mom found out I was pregnant, she said he was dead to her. He was so shocked and hurt, and that pain turned into anger at me. He felt like I was ruining his life. I tried to understand his pain. He looked at me like he hated me and said I looked like an alien while I was pregnant. I never took it to heart and tried to be patient. Neither of us grew up with both of our parents. So I wanted to try really hard so we could give that to our son. Fast forward, it has been a long 11 years. My husband got his bachelor's and master's degrees, and I never got to go back to school because he said I had to take care of the kids. We had a girl 4 years later. I love my kids and I feel very blessed, and I thanked my husband for being able to take care of us. But deep down, it felt unfair, and I felt ungrateful for wanting more. So I let it go. This whole time, my husband never got me a Christmas present, Valentine's, anniversary gift, nothing. But it was fine because he provided so much. But I felt alone. He didn't like to talk to me and spent all his time on his phone. And if I ever cried or told him I was sad, he said that it was a luxury that I could afford because he gave me everything. And he added that if I didn't like it, I could leave. A year and a half ago, my husband got laid off and has been struggling to find a 6-figure job like he was used to having. Our finances got so bad that I offered to get a job to help. My husband was working from home, so he stayed with the kids while I went to work as a food prep for a Chinese restaurant. It was $16 an hour, and the work was grueling. I was pulling double shifts any chance I got, and I was happy to help. But my husband was so upset about it. He would say that I was trying to find someone else and that he hoped I had bad days at work. Honestly, I was really confused and hurt. And for the first time, I couldn't be patient or understanding. I lost it. My husband said if I didn't like the way he treated me, I could leave. I was done and said, okay, and we both just got quiet. Later that night, we talked about how it was over and how we would still both stay in the house together until one of us could afford to move out. After we broke it off and I stopped cooking and cleaning up after him, we started to get along more. It was like we were genuine friends. It's been 8 months since we separated, and all of a sudden, my husband says he wants to get back together. He said that he has realized that he loves me and doesn't see me as his maid anymore. I didn't know he saw me that way, and it felt like a slap to the face. He wanted me to be happy and grateful that he wants to try again, and that he sees me as an actual person. He started bringing me flowers, saying he loves me, and that I'm beautiful every day. It makes me feel horrible knowing that he was capable of being kind to me these past 11 years, and he never once was. I'm very clear where I stand and tell him we are never getting back together. All he says is he is never going to give up. I don't want to get back together, but he says I'm not giving our kids a chance to grow up with their parents together the way we did. He makes me feel like the bad guy, like I'm breaking our family. I feel horrible and don't know how to feel or what to do. What do I do? Am I wrong for holding my ground? Am I the bad guy? Now, for a few comments before the update, comment 1. Too little, too late. And unconvincing too. Carry on with the plan to separate. Oh, and this bit. Doesn't see me as his maid anymore. No, and that's why he wants you back. Because you aren't his maid anymore. And he wants that maid back. Comment 2. It's emotional abuse to drag the kids in. Don't get suckered in because of the kids in a non-loving relationship where you don't want to be. Now for the update. Thanks for your comments on my last post. Yesterday, my husband did something that really got to me. He signed up our son for soccer without even asking me. I found out when the coach called to confirm practice times. I was so mad because it's like he's trying to play the good parent now. But where was he when our son needed him before? Back when we were just starting out, my husband would always say he was too busy for anything that involved the kids. He missed my daughter's first ballet recital because he had a work thing. And now he's signing up our son for soccer like he's father of the year. It's like he's trying to rewrite history. But I remember all the times he wasn't there. I told him we needed to talk about it, and he just brushed me off, saying he was trying to be more involved. But it's not just about being involved, it's about respecting me as their mother and making decisions together. It's like he's trying to make up for lost time, but he's going about it all wrong. And then there's the issue with the house. We've been living together since we split, but it's getting harder. He's been trying to be all nice, cooking dinner and doing laundry, but it feels fake. I can't forget all those years he never lifted a finger to help. It's like he's putting on a show, and I'm not buying it. The other day, he sat me down and said he wanted to talk about our future. He said he's been saving up and found a place for himself. He said he's moving out next month. I was shocked. I thought we'd be stuck in this situation forever. But then he said he still wants to try and work things out, that he's doing this to show me he can be independent and responsible. I don't know what to think. Part of me is relieved he's moving out, but another part of me is worried about how this will affect the kids. They've gotten used to us both being around, even if we're not together. And I can't help but feel a little guilty, like maybe I'm being too stubborn. But then I remember all the times he made me feel small and unimportant. Like when he told me my job at the restaurant was just a phase and that I'd be back to being a stay-at-home mom soon. He never took me seriously, and now he expects me to just forget all that. I've been talking to my sister about it, and she says I need to do what's best for me and the kids. She reminded me of how hard I've worked to keep this family afloat, especially when he was laid off. She said I shouldn't let him guilt me into anything. So, I've made a decision. I'm going to let him move out, and I'm going to start focusing on myself and the kids. I'm going to go back to school, like I always wanted. I found a community college that offers night classes, and I'm going to sign up. It's time for me to start living for myself. And as for my husband, I hope he finds what he's looking for, but I'm not going to wait around for him to figure it out. I've spent too many years doing that already. It's time for a new chapter, and I'm ready for it. Thanks for reading. My girlfriend keeps her ex-hookups close and lies about our baby's real dad. So I expose her cheating in front of her entire family and watch her world crumble. I'm wondering how people think about this situation. Personally, it doesn't make me feel good. My girlfriend has a handful of ex-hookups, a dozen or so in her life, who she's remained friends with. She texts them sometimes, hangs out with some of them alone, invites them to her parties, etc. I don't have any of this going on, as it would feel weird to me to keep in touch with people like this. Also, most of these guys did not start as friends to her. They started as hookups and then just remained in her life. Also, most of these hookups are recent. Within the past year of her and I getting together, it's not that I don't trust her, as I know she wouldn't hook up with these people anymore. And she's very communicative about the details of their past and whenever she's seeing them. But it still feels weird and uncomfortable and disrespectful to me. Like she's keeping a level of intimacy with these people that infringes upon our intimacy, if that makes sense. Or like she's keeping options around. She's been open with me about her daddy issues and that she needs male figures in her life, but I just wish I was enough for her. Or that these male figures in her life weren't intimacy. She tells me I'm just being insecure, and if I was more secure, I wouldn't care and would just know she's with me now. But I'm not so sure about this. I don't know if it has to do with security, and maybe it's just the kind of relationship level of exclusivity I'm looking for. Part of me thinks a truly secure man wouldn't even put up with this as much as I am and would have left the relationship a long time ago. But I don't know. Edit. Additional information to clarify some of the comments. First of all, she says she is very serious about me, wants marriage, kids, a life together, etc. Also, we have been officially dating for only a few months. And after a lot of arguing about this, she has agreed to set boundaries with a lot of these people to create distance. No drinks, dinner, just coffee if she's going to see them. Seeing them a lot less frequently. Limited Instagram DMing. Not initiating plans, cutting some of them out completely. She acknowledges that if she were in my shoes, it would be hard for her too. But she also says in that scenario, she'd try to compromise with me. Easy for her to say though, because she's not in that situation. We agreed that this is a compromise. But even with this, I'm still not quite satisfied with the outcome, because I'd prefer none of it at all, which is the case for me, even though I've hooked up with a lot of people in my past too. I also feel like I'm now forcing her, controlling her to do something she doesn't want to do, which doesn't make me feel better. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You are correct. A truly secure man would politely explain why he doesn't want to pursue a relationship with someone who exhibits this behavior, and then would leave rather than trying to change her or putting up with it, and hoping for her to come to the same realization. Daddy issues are no excuse for this kind of behavior. That's manipulative on her part, to justify this by using her daddy issues. Even if that actually is the reason, that would mean she should go to therapy and not be in a relationship, rather than excusing the behavior to her partner. Comment 2. You aren't compatible for a relationship. She enjoys staying friends with prior partners, and you're not comfortable with that. Dating is to make sure a prospective girlfriend has the same values, attitudes, etc. For an ongoing relationship, it doesn't matter who's right, you're just not a good fit. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around for this update. So, things took a turn for the worse. Remember how my girlfriend agreed to set boundaries with her ex-hookups? Well, she did, but only for a while. Last week I found out she was still meeting one of them. Let's call him Mr. X, behind my back. They were not just grabbing coffee, they went out for dinner and drinks. When I confronted her, she said it was a one-time thing because Mr. X was going through a tough time and needed a friend. But I couldn't shake off the feeling that she was lying. It got messier. I ran into one of her friends who accidentally spilled that my girlfriend and Mr. X had been in touch more than she admitted. They'd been texting and seeing each other on the sly for weeks. When I brought this up, she got defensive, saying I was invading her privacy and that I should trust her. But how could I? She was keeping secrets, and it felt like a slap in the face. Then, out of nowhere, she dropped a shocker. She was pregnant. We'd talked about kids and a future, but this was unexpected. She assured me the baby was mine, and in the heat of the moment, I believed her. We were going to be a family, and I thought maybe this would be the turning point for us. But life has a cruel sense of humor. A few days later, I overheard a conversation between her and Mr. X. He was the father. My world crumbled. She begged for forgiveness, saying it was a mistake, that she didn't mean for it to happen. She wanted to raise the child with me, as if nothing had changed. I was torn. Part of me wanted to walk away, but another part couldn't let go of the love I had for her. In the end, I decided to stay. Maybe it was fear of being alone, or the hope that we could still have the future we planned. But I accepted the situation. I convinced myself that we could work through it, that the baby could be a new start for us. But that wasn't the end of it. Her betrayal had consequences. My trust in her was shattered, and it affected everything. We fought constantly about the baby, about Mr. X, about trust. It was like a never-ending cycle of anger and disappointment. And then, another twist. Mr. X wanted to be involved with the baby. He wasn't going to be a silent partner in this. He wanted to be a part of the child's life, which meant he would be a part of ours too. It was too much. I felt like I was losing control over my own life, being pushed into a corner with no way out. Despite all this, I stayed. Maybe it was because I still loved her, or maybe because I felt responsible for the baby, even if it wasn't mine. I don't know. It's hard to explain why we do the things we do, especially when emotions are involved. So here we are, trying to navigate this complicated mess we've created. It's not easy, and I don't know if it will ever be. But for now, I'm here, trying to make the best of a bad situation. Thanks for reading. My partner stops initiating intimacy, and I find out. They're texting their ex. So I expose their lies and leave them with nothing. Every time we have intimacy, I initiate foreplay, pleasure her orally until she orgasms multiple times. And during intimacy, I ensure that I do everything that she enjoys and help her achieve orgasm through clitoral stimulation. She tells me I'm the best intimacy partner she's had and that it's really satisfying. But there have been some issues over the last couple of months that did not occur before. She has stopped initiating intimacy. She used to. For the past couple of months, I have had to initiate every time. When I asked her why and expressed how it made me feel, she said that she was indifferent to having intimacy and that she could still enjoy her time with me without it. This was very hurtful, and even though she tried to rephrase her words, it still deeply affected me. A few times she tried being on top, and I assured her it was amazing and expressed my love for it. However, now when I suggest it, she refuses because she claims it's too challenging for her. She shared with me multiple times that she had engaged in butt stuff intimacy with her previous partner and enjoyed it. However, when I brought up the idea later and expressed my interest, she declined and has not mentioned it again. This is a bit confusing and contradictory because she previously expressed enjoyment, yet she won't engage in it with me, which makes me feel inadequate. Just to clarify, I am not implying that she has an obligation to engage in these activities with me just because I asked. It simply feels like she is less passionate about intimacy and lacks the same desire that I have, which is off-putting. I deserve someone who desires me as much as I desire them. We have been together for 4 months, but we got together shortly after she ended her previous relationship. I was very patient and waited until she felt ready and expressed genuine liking for me. But now I'm starting to feel like I may have been a rebound. I'm unsure of what to do next. Update. I want to clarify a few things. I compliment her every day, show physical affection, kiss her, make her feel special, and send her flirtatious messages. However, she rarely, if ever, reciprocates these actions. Maybe I am not as outstanding in bed as I think, but I have made every effort to communicate with her about her preferences and what I may be doing wrong. Every time I check in with her, she assures me that I am doing it well and that the intimacy is just the way she likes it now, and it's great. However, her lack of desire does not align with these statements at all. I have tried my hardest to satisfy her desires, but if she cannot communicate her needs for me to improve, then that is beyond my control. Perhaps she is also faking orgasms, but she assures me that she has multiple orgasms. I am not making that up. She enjoys intense intimacy activities. She tells me she wants to be surprised with intimacy, and we have a safe word. She wishes to be dominated and wants me to initiate even if she is not in the mood. She explicitly stated this. Trust me, I always prioritize her comfort and act with caution. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. How long have you guys been together? It sounds like it hasn't been a long time. This is the perfect situation where you need to assess and decide if you want to be with someone you're not compatible with in terms of the intimacy aspect of the relationship. You can't change people, and even if you think you can, it may not be sustainable. If she doesn't care after you express yourself, you will resent her. If she changes for you and becomes someone she's not, she will resent you. Resentment leads to negative behaviors. Good luck. Comment 2. So she isn't necessarily bad at intimacy, but rather she isn't interested in intimacy? Have you tried increasing physical intimacy throughout the day that you guys are together, like touching, not in private areas, but rather her butt, thigh, or neck, to build up tension? Also, if she is on birth control or any other medication that may be contributing to the lack of intimacy drive. Now for the update. Thanks for all the comments on my last post. So, here's what's been going down. Remember how I said she stopped initiating? Well, turns out she's been texting her ex. I found out when a message popped up while she was in the shower. It was like a punch in the gut. I didn't read the whole conversation, but it was enough to know it wasn't just friendly banter. When I confronted her, she said they were just closing old chapters. But why now? And why in secret? Then, out of nowhere, she started initiating again. It felt off, like she was trying to cover something up. I wanted to believe it was guilt, that she realized she'd made a mistake and was trying to make it right. But deep down, I knew better, and it got worse. She lost her job last week. She said it was downsizing, but I overheard her on the phone saying something about a misunderstanding with her boss. She's been home all the time now, and it's like walking on eggshells. I've been picking up extra shifts to keep us afloat, but it's taking a toll. The other day, she asked me for a pretty big loan. Said it was to help her brother out of a jam. I wanted to help, but something didn't add up. Her brother always seemed like a straight shooter, and she's never mentioned him needing help before. I lent her the money, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm being played. And then, the kicker. She got into a fight with my sister. My sister's always been protective of me, and she called her out on her behavior. It got ugly, and now there's this rift in the family. I tried to smooth things over, but my sister's convinced she's bad news. I hate to admit it, but part of me wonders if she's right. I've been trying to hold on, to believe that we can get past all this. But every time I look at her, I see the secrets and the lies. It's like she's a stranger to me now. I keep telling myself that we'll get through it, that it's just a rough patch. But with each passing day, I feel more like a fool. I'm not blind. I see the red flags, the warning signs, but I can't help it. I love her, or at least I love who I thought she was. And maybe that's the problem. I'm in love with a memory, not the person in front of me. Anyway, thanks for reading. It helps to get it off my chest. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.